the number one reason that you will never reach your fitness and fat loss goals. That's what we're going to cover in today's video. If you are constantly doing what I'm about to reveal to you, you are just setting yourself up for failure, and you should just quit on any sort of fat loss goal that you have for yourself. Obviously, I'm just kidding, guys. I will never tell you to quit on a fitness goal that you have for yourself. However, this habit that I am about to explain to you, by the end of the video, you will understand just why it is the one big thing stopping you from achieving those goals. Before we start the video, guys, welcome. My name is Neil. I help people get into the best shape of their life. So if you are someone who's looking to get in that great shape that they've always wanted to be in, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because I release videos just like this in order to help you create the best version of yourself. Let's get right into this number one habit that is preventing you from achieving those goals. And that, guys, is stress eating. Now, before you click off, let me explain just how this response from your body is going to actually accumulate more fat and overall have horrible effects on your health. When you want to get in shape, that motivation factor for yourself is super high in that moment of time. You do everything you need to. You get rid of the bad foods. You bring in good, healthy groceries. You start a workout regimen. You even pretty much mimic what the Instagram or the healthy people in Hollywood do, so that you can have that for yourself. And that is a really good thing. Establishing these habits is really helpful in order for you to get to your goals. However, what can happen sometimes? Maybe you have a day in which something just hit you the wrong way, and now you have this sort of stress response in your brain. You kind of feel like, it's just kind of beating down on you, and you don't know what to do. And so ultimately, when you get home that day, instead of doing what you normally were doing, making a healthy meal or working out, instead you kind of put that off, and you're like, okay, it was a rough day, I'm just gonna have a snack, kind of relax, I'll go to the gym later, whatever. And then you just eat a little bit of food that you should not have. And then what happens? Maybe you crave a little bit more, so you eat a little bit more, and before you know it, guys, you've consumed thousands of calories of foods that have no nutritional benefit, and on top of that, you probably skip the workout. And then you tell yourself, okay, I'll just restart tomorrow. So you just continue this habit. Even though this may happen to you once every couple of weeks or once a month, I'm gonna give you the reason right now that this is actually probably the worst thing you could do if you are trying to drop body fat and get into healthy shape. Now, I shouldn't have to go into great detail about why stress is bad in general. However, there are such things as good stressors and bad stressors. Overall, when you do have a stress response, the hormone that is released, obviously, is cortisol. Now, the way cortisol is secreted is very, very important. Cortisol is going to be secreted in two different stress responses. One, when we're exercising, so a physiological response, or two, from a mental and emotional response. So what happens during the physical or physiological response when you're working out? When you exercise in a fasted state, your body's going to secrete cortisol, and that cortisol is actually going to release an enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase. What this enzyme is going to do is actually go into your adipose tissue and start to break it down as a fuel source for energy while you're working out, which is an amazing thing, because now you're just mobilizing fat in order to get through your workout. This is why I'm such a big proponent on working out, specifically when you are in a fasted state. I think you have amazing benefits with it. And that is the good response with cortisol. But now let me talk about the scenario that I mentioned earlier and the response that you get with that. So this mental and emotional stress response with cortisol actually activates a different enzyme. Our bodies are very smart, so it's going to activate enzymes depending on so many things: the weather, the mood that we have, everything. It's going to activate this enzyme called lipoprotein lipase. This is an enzyme that's activated with cortisol that's actually going to store adipose tissue, specifically in your abdominal region. We have like 4 times more cortisol receptors, guys, in the abdominal region. This is why when you start to gain some weight, you'll first see it in here. is because we have an abundance of cortisol receptors right here in this adipose tissue, specifically in our visceral fat, which is the stuff surrounding our organs, as well as the adipose tissue that you probably see with the love handles that you might form. And fat accumulation will go something like this. It first starts to store in the deep visceral fat, then it will start to pool out into the adipose tissue in the abdomen, and then it will go into the femoral region or in your thighs. And so overall, the message of this video, guys, is to stop stress eating. It is so important that your coping mechanism for stress does not include food, because you're only setting yourself up for failure. And you should already know just how crappy it feels after eating all those calories. You probably know the feeling. And so why do you want to put yourself in that kind of state? There's so many other things that you can do in order to relieve stress. Maybe you want to read, maybe you want to sleep, maybe meditate, have sex, it doesn't matter. But there's so many other beneficial things that you can do to cope with stress versus just eating a lot. And that wraps up the video, guys. I hope you found this information informative. I know when it comes to the physiology of the human body, it gets a little bit complicated. However, I hope I was able to explain in simple terms why stress eating is your biggest impediment when it comes to reaching your fitness goals. We all have stressors in life. However, there are proper ways to deal with it. And so go ahead, find the best way that you can deal with your stress without consuming a whole bunch of empty, bad calories. I'll see you in the next one.